Imagine this. You wake up in a smoky longhouse, the stench of blood and iron in the air. Outside, war horns echo across the frozen fjord. In the Viking Age, your life expectancy is brutally short, and your death? Almost certain to be violent. If disease doesn't claim you, famine might. If famine spares you, an enemy's axe won't. So the real question isn't if you'll die, it's how. Life in the Viking Age was a gamble from the moment you were born. Most children never even made it past their 5th birthday. Disease stalked every corner of the village. Measles, smallpox, and infections that today seem harmless could wipe out entire families. The smoky air inside the longhouse, thick with ash from the hearth, slowly poisoned lungs. And winters in Scandinavia? They were merciless. One bad harvest meant famine, and famine meant death. Survival wasn't about comfort. It was about enduring the cold, the hunger, and the constant shadow of sickness. Every day you lived was a small victory. But the truth is, even if you escaped disease and hunger, your greatest danger was still waiting for you, on the battlefield. Battle was the heartbeat of Viking life, and also its deadliest gamble. When war horns sounded, men lined up with shields locked, hearts pounding against the cold air. The clash was sudden, brutal, and unforgiving. Axes split skulls, swords tore through flesh, shields shattered under the weight of spears. There was no honor in the way most died, just chaos and blood. Even if you were skilled, fate could betray you in an instant. A single slip on the icy ground, a blade you never saw coming, and it was over. If you were lucky, death came quickly. If not, you were left screaming in the mud while ravens circled above, waiting to feast. For a Viking, this was the most common end, not in bed, not of old age, but face down on a frozen battlefield. But battle wasn't the only way you could die in the Viking Age. The seas claimed just as many lives as the sword. Longships, though sturdy, were at the mercy of storms one wrong wave, and entire crews vanished beneath the freezing North Atlantic. Accidents were constant too. A slip with an axe while chopping wood. A fall from the roof of a longhouse. Even a cooking fire could turn fatal. And then there was slavery. If captured, your life might end in chains, beaten or worked to death far from your home. Yet perhaps the most terrifying fate was ritual sacrifice. Some were strangled. Others bled to the gods, their bodies offered to Odin for victory in war or good harvests. In the Viking Age, death was everywhere, and it often came in ways you could never predict. For Vikings, death wasn't just an end, it was a passage. They believed the bravest warriors, those who fell in battle, were chosen by the Valkyries. Beautiful, fearsome maidens of Odin, descending on wings of steel and light. If they touched you, your soul was carried to Valhalla, the great hall of the slain. There, endless feasts awaited, tables heavy with meat and mead. Every night, warriors dined with gods. Every morning, they rose to fight again, only to be reborn at dusk, ready to feast once more. To a Viking, this was the only good death. Not from sickness, not from famine, but sword in hand, face to the enemy, dying with glory, so that Odin himself might welcome you into eternity. In the Viking Age, death was never far away. It could come from sickness, hunger, accident, or an enemy's blade. But for the Norse, it wasn't the fear of dying that shaped their world. It was how they died. To fall in battle meant glory. To die any other way meant being forgotten. And in a culture built on war, memory was everything. So if you had lived 1,000 years ago, ask yourself, Would you have died a nameless victim of plague or storm? Or would you have met your end with a sword in hand, your name carried into Valhalla for eternity?